Good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us for this Skylab virtual talk. I am Aaron L. McKinney, Executive Director of High Arts. For accessibility, I will provide a visual description. I am a caramel complexioned Black male with a high top haircut, faded sides, have a connecting beard and goatee. I have on a white t-shirt and I am sitting in an office with white walls and a bookshelf over my right shoulder. I am joining you today from the High Arts office and studio space on the land of the Muncie, Lenape, and Wappinger people, now known as East Harlem, New York. We are so elated to support Sydnie L. Mosley and SLMDances in this development process. As you will hear tonight during this conversation, there are many hands involved in the making of this work, and there's still so much more to come. For so many reasons, this has been an event full of firsts. This is our first in-person event. This is our first public event in our new space in Art Space PS 109. And this is also our first event for our program manager, Joyous Pierce. As the program manager, she joined our staff just a couple of months ago. So thank you again for your support of tonight's presentation. High Arts is in an exciting season of growth. As mentioned, we have added new staff members. We are moving into a larger space. We are expanding our programming. We have some very exciting things coming, so please visit our website at www.hi-artsnyc.org. That is www.hi-artsnyc.org for all of our upcoming programming. And I can't wait to welcome you into our physical space really soon. And if not, I will continue to see you in this virtual space. This work would not be possible without the energy and resources of the High Arts wonderful staff. So I must send a shout out to Hannah, to Joyous, Kirya, Eleanor, Nicole, Issa, and Brittany. And this organization would not be able to continue its operations and programming without the wonderful support of our funders and individuals like you. Again, I look forward to seeing you soon in our physical space or continue to engage with you virtually. Now, I think I've talked enough, so let's get to the magic that you've all tuned in to witness. I'm going to turn it over to our curator in residence, Kirya Traber, as she carries this conversation forward.
Hello, good evening. My name is Kirya Traber. My pronouns are she and her, and I am the curator in residence for High Arts. Really excited to help initiate this first live sharing since the pandemic began. It's a really exciting moment for all of us. A quick visual description. I am a light brown skinned Black woman wearing gold wire rim glasses. I have my hair is black and in a bun on top of my head. I'm wearing gold earrings and an orange turtleneck with, in honor of tonight's event, a purple amethyst heart necklace that is a family heirloom. It was the only purple thing I owned, but it's also one of the most important things I own. I am joining you from Brooklyn on unceded Lenape territory, and I am being supported by First Choice Interpretation Services, which we are grateful to have back with us again. You are joining us for a conversation about what does purple sound like, this multimedia, interdisciplinary installation experience that is currently on view at High Arts right now. It is like nothing else that I've experienced and certainly nothing else that we've produced, and I'm so honored to be a part of it. I want to bring on first and foremost the instigator, the visionary, the curator of this work, the founder of SLMDances, Sydnie L. Mosley. Hi, Sydnie. She's waving there. Sydnie L. Mosley is an award-winning artist, activist, and educator who is interested in creative work that is both artistically sound and socially aware. She's the founder of SLMDances, as I said, and the curator and the current High Arts Skylab artist in residence. Welcome, Sydnie.
Thank you, Kirya. Thank you for being here and hosting us.
I'm always grateful to invite Sydnie into spaces. We have been gratefully been able to be co-conspirators together in many spaces. And this is a project that I've seen grow from its literal ideation, its infancy, to this current moment, which is still not at all final. It is still just one step in a long journey. So Sydnie, can you orient us a little bit to what does purple sound like? Where is that in this journey of purple? And I know that you said, "Oops, I think I'm a curator." So can you tell us what that means and how you ended up here with the support of so many collaborators?
Yes, thank you. So, the first thing to say is that purple is a universe. It is a universe of projects that all have the same ideas that help make them the essence of purple. So those ideas are that they are multi-generational projects. They are projects that involve collective decision making, and they involve the feedback loop between ourselves and the people that we are in collaboration with. And they are inspired by the work of Alice Walker and Intozaki Shange. When we first began this project, we were invited by Lincoln Center to work with folks at the Lincoln Square Neighborhood Center, where we met our friends here who are sitting beside me. And when we began that work, we were excited to co create something. We didn't know what that something was going to be, but we were moving with these ideas of purple in our mind. As the project developed, we realized that purple was a universe, and that instead of just one performance creative project, that we actually wanted to create multiple projects. And as a part of our engagement with Lincoln Square Neighborhood Center and Amsterdam Houses, we were invited to capture oral histories from the friends that we made there. And we held a oral history party in June 2019 that we called The Great Day. And so then we all know what happened. There was a pandemic. And we were no longer able to go to the center and teach line dancing classes with our friends. We also were not able to go on field trips as we had around New York City. We weren't able to do all of the activities that we had been doing. And that also meant that our opportunity to create something together was also lost. So we have, over the past year and a half, been trying to think of how we wanted to activate the stories that were shared with us, the photographs, the portraits that were taken of all of the lovely women who shared with us. And that is how what does purple sound like was born. And it was an opportunity to activate all of those materials in a multimedia way, but it was also a way that we felt was safe in a pandemic, that did not it allowed us to gather, but not gather where there's so many people. It's not a big performance, and so we just wanted to honor the relationships and the stories that we had gathered, and we wanted to create something that really activated all of the different artistic ways that we or all of the artistic talents that were among our collaborators.
Woo! Thank you
Mhm.
so much
That's
because you were trying to sum up,
4 years of
4
history.
years, right? What I think some things I wanna lift out of what you shared with us is, this started you and I, were at Lincoln Center at the same time, and we were both very much experimenting with what does it mean to be so deeply process-oriented? We are not setting out the finished product at the beginning of a work because we want to bring people into the work with us and co-create from the root level. And this is, for me, such a validating experience, being able to truly just have a visceral, physical experience with part of this work and know there's more to come. So to entice folks to please come to the studio at High Arts if you're able to, or participate in a virtual tour. The space, I felt, this sounds like I'm being hyperbolic, but I truly felt like I was being hugged as I walked into the space. This is a studio that I spent time in as a High Arts staff member, having meetings, working with other artists who were doing works in progress. And I have never experienced this space in such a sensorily rich way, that it has a physical sensation that is, I feel in my skin as I walk in, and it sinks deeper than that. It has a smell. It has it's a vibe, as the kids are saying these days. It's definitely a vibe. So please come experience it. It is a wonderful opportunity to not only experience this journey that Sydnie has been on, but also hopefully reconnect with some of your own journeys. There are chairs throughout the space. There's a reading nook and material to read. There's this corner with something sweet for you to take. There's an opportunity for you to participate by answering some prompt questions on the wall. It truly is an immersive, full experience. Oh, not to mention also, there's a soundscape that is playing that you can put your headphones and experience an audio landscape that also features the voices of people that you interviewed, as well as some really incredible music. So I just wanted to lift up some of that experience I've had with this work for the audience that hasn't yet seen it. And then I want to invite in some of your wonderful collaborators. So I'm going to read a few names, of which is just a quarter of the people who have helped usher in this work. So I believe sitting right next to you is Miss Jacqueline Wright. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you mind waving? Hello. She is the Lincoln Square Neighborhood Center community. She's a Lincoln Square Neighborhood Center community member. And for What Does Purple Sound Like, is a community leader and co-conspirator in this work. She's the founder of SEEDS, Service Educational Economic Development Sciences, a 501c3 organization to expand libraries globally, among other many important works over the years. And then directly beside her, we have Marie Steven, who also of Amsterdam Houses, another community leader and co-conspirator. Marie Steven is a strong-headed woman and does what is best for her and her community. She came to the US from Haiti at the age of 19 and has been living in Amsterdam Houses for 50 years. And then on the farthest end of the table from Sydnie, we have Brittany Greer, who is a dancer, performer, and SLMDances community engagement liaison. Brittany Greer is an interdisciplinary teaching artist, performer, and educator, as well as a cultural arts organizer. And then last but not least, joining us from her own home, we have Counterfeit Madison, who did some music and sound design for What Does Purple Sound Like? Sharon Udoh creates and performs under the name Counterfeit Madison. She's a queer first-generation Nigerian-American composer, pianist, vocalist, educator, speaker, and cultural critic. And there are at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more people involved in this. Dr. Kim Hall, Ebonie Smith, Jules Slutsky, Pam Phillips, Shani Peters, and probably others as well. So this is just a part of the universe that is Purple. Thank you all for joining us. I'd like to turn now to Miss Jacqueline Wright. If you could answer the question for us, what does purple mean to you?
Well, to me, purple means a couple of things. It means community, friendship, and also this intergenerational coming together of the young folks and the folks from the center. The folks from the center, it's a senior center. So this was very much an intergenerational opportunity for us. And that's what purple means to me.
Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you for locating us in the generational connection there and how important that is to this work, which is, again, why I wore my my family heirloom piece. That is the only purple thing I own. So then to your neighbor, Miss Marie Steven, can you tell us what purple means to you?
What purple mean royalty. That's what purple mean to me.
Can you repeat that word again?
Royalty.
Royalty.
Yes, purple, yes. That's what purple mean to me. So it's a bright color, and anybody can see wherever you are. Even if you are in the dark, they will see you. So that's why purple is mean to me.
Thank you so much. And there's a long lineage of purple being associated with royalty in many cultures. Brittany, what does purple mean to you?
So I love it because I agree with Miss Marie. Like purple is royalty, but I'll add that it is also like this royal fabric of how we're all interwoven. It's a cloth that we wrap ourselves around when we need the reminders of where we want to go or just find warmth with one another. That's what purple is.
Thank you, Brittany. Counterfeit medicine. What does purple mean to you?
Hi. Okay. So purple is kind of like, at the risk of being like too technological, it's kind of like an ability to download information from people who have come before and pass on information to people who've like I feel like when I'm in this universe, I feel like I can access information, life information, guidance, strength. I feel like I can download things from my ancestors. And then I can also, through that downloading, pass it on to people who are younger than me. It's like an exchange. Yeah. A technological exchange.
Excellent. And I actually want to ask you first, if you could tell us a little bit more about your role in this work and how this work is sort of situated in the rest of the work you do. Is this something really unique for you, or is this sort of in line? How have you approached this really community and collective driven work as a musician?
It's wild. It's like, it is shockingly like unlike anything I've ever done, but also right in line with what I do. Like I play music so that I can connect people. And I just haven't really done it in this way. I worked with a really fancy producer named Ebonie Smith, and kind of I basically, everything musical that I do is emotional, so it's just a really emotional process for me. Hearing these speeches from all these women that I don't know, but that I do know, if you know what I mean, and just trying to use music to amplify the warmth that purple feels like. It feels very warm, and so I wanted to make sure that's what I was bringing to the project. Yeah. So it's pretty typical of what I do. I just added piano and I added vocals to some really nicely produced tracks, but it was just such a different. I think the way that it was different is that I usually don't work in an intergenerational manner. I'm usually working with like 20 somethings and 30 somethings, and like I'm also come from like the punk world, so I'm used to playing in like dirty bars and to like lots of white people. And so it's just really great to play in this world of like specific womanhood and really access this Blackness in a new way, and in a specific way musically. So
Yes.
yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's so fascinating to know. After I heard the mixtape when I visited this weekend, or the what are the words you're using for it, Sydnie? It's not a mixtape. It's a
EP.
what? EP.
Oh.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I heard the EP this weekend, And I would have no idea that one of the main creators came from a punk background. That's really
Yeah.
interesting. Do you
Yep.
feel like that was a stretch for you, or is that just a sort of like something you got in your toolkit that you just don't pull out as often?
Well, so as I'm painting an incomplete picture. I also come from a church background. I also am a classical piano player. So I have all these different ways of accessing music. But this was just so, I mean, Ebonie is so cool. She's so like fresh and like dope. And so it was just a very different way of working, a very polished way of working. And but it was accessible. I have a lot of different tools or whatever.
Yeah, clearly. Thank you for sharing some of that with us. And yeah, I wanted to speak a little bit as someone who's experienced, and really I'm just enticing people to really take this firsthand and come experience it. I remember the interviews, and we had conversations. I worked with the company SLMDances to help them think about how to interview. And Sydnie said, we're going to create something with these interviews. And I believed you, and I didn't know what it was going to be. And I think it's so, hearing the words embedded in the music, I could have easily been told that was the plan all along, right? That these words were found for the music. So it's really phenomenal to see how far it's come. And I want to use that as a segue just to shout out an artist who is integral to the installation but isn't here, but you're seeing on camera, they're sitting before the quilt of Dr. Kim Hall, one of the quilts that covers the entire space. And I feel that this quilting is such an incredible metaphor for this entire project. It is, very much about pieces that are found, pieces that are treasured, pieces that have had a whole other life, pieces that were bought specifically for this, that have come together to create something that is at once cohesive, but tells a story about where it's come from. And so I really heard that in the music, and I really loved it. And again, shout out to Dr. Kim Hall for lending her talents to the work. Please, Ebonie. I mean, sorry, not Ebonie. Please.
If I may, I want to make sure I clarify that I also did not hear the interviews, and that I created without the interviews. And Ebonie came and put all of it together, and my wig was snatched off of my head.
Credit where credit is due. Absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And I would love to hear from her at another point about that process of listening through and creating the first baseline that in them was an invitation to you to add on to that. That's great. I'd like to invite two of our folks from SLMDances who I believe participated in these interviews. What has this experience been like for you? Have you heard the EP? What are some of the reactions you have? How does this make you think differently about that experience you've had doing the interview to this moment now and seeing some of the art come to life? Maybe we can start with who would like to start? Would you raise your hand if you'd like to start? Great, please.
Okay. I participated, but I was not one of the people who was interviewed. And when I came in and I saw the photos, and then I heard the EPs, it really touched me, because some of the participants are no longer with us. They have transitioned. And to hear them and to see them, it just was so emotional. So, that was really, really a good experience for me.
Thank you for sharing that. I did not know that. That's really powerful. That was Miss Jacqueline Wright. And before I want to ask you a follow-up question, but before I do, Miss Marie Stephen, can you share what are some of your first impressions listening to the and did you participate in the interviews?
Yes. But when I heard them, the words and everything, it seemed that even though they are no longer with us, but it just make you remember them. You think about them. It's like they are not gone. They are here because the picture are here, and then at the same time, they are not here. It's hard. You know, I cannot explain it to you, but it's hard, very hard, because you talk to them and then 2 days later, they are not there. You are asking yourself if they are telling you the truth or if they are just lying because you just don't believe it. And then come in here, see them and smiling. It's very hard. It's very hard. To me, it's very hard because you know them, you talk to them daily, in a daily basis at the center, and then yet they are not here, and then here they are.
Yes.
Their voices is I cannot explain it to you. You know
I,
the way I feel about them.
yeah, I am getting a lot from what you're sharing, though. You're bringing up a really um, poignant question about, you know, honoring the lives of folks, but also, yeah, their image, their likeness, their voice, their representation is here, and they are not, and um, they aren't going to have an ongoing relationship with those images, but we are, and we have to sit with that memory of them. And there can be pain just in being reminded of them, but also questions about what would they think of this. They said that thing then. Does that still represent what they would think today, where they're here with us? And then if you are tapped into a spiritual belief or religious practice, you might ask, like, are they witnessing it now? Are they participating in some way beyond this moment that we might not be able to feel or hear in a present moment? I think, yeah, I can't know what it feels like for you to personally connect to those women because I did not know them. But I definitely appreciate you bringing in that perspective about working with, hearing, engaging with art that involves people who are no longer on this earthly plane with us. Thank you for that. I wanted to ask both of you again, as residents of Amsterdam House for many, many years, as leaders in your communities, um, what has this project been like for you in terms of, has there been anything similar like this over the years? Have you done other collaborations with artists, with folks outside the Amsterdam houses? And what has been your experience working with SLM Dance?
Okay, well, I'll start. Hi, Jacqueline, right, and I guess I'll start again. Well, it's been a fantastic experience. Actually, coming together, the center, the seniors at the center, we talk about the things that we've done with SLM over this period. And it has been, really gratifying to see this kind of intergenerational, I keep going back to that theme because that's one for me, as a senior, to be able to work with gorgeous, smart, young people and just see the things that they're doing and how they conceptualized this thing and brought us together. And it was really, really a very good experience.
I'm sure that's really gratifying to hear, Sydnie. I'm curious, as a follow-up for you, Ms. Wright, do you have much interaction with folks in a younger generation? And what's that, has it revealed anything to you, that intergenerational connection? Could you just talk more about like what you've explored or discovered through that intergenerational connection?
Well, I'm a former teacher, so I'm kind of used to that, but a retired teacher. So I was working at the center, and the opportunity to work with SLM, presented itself, and it was really different for me because I had not done that kind of thing before. So I was like organizing and helping Sydnie and the other young ladies get this project going, and we had so much fun. we went on field trips. We went to the theater, and things like that they were very gratifying, but also it was a good experience to have, this this coming together, and the things that we did for the seniors who sometimes don't get these opportunities. It was very gratifying, and it was a learning experience. And they keep talking about it. when are they going to come back? And when are we going to do some more things? And, the pandemic interrupted, of course. So just this opportunity to get together today is really, very, it's very gratifying.
Yeah, we thank you for coming to the High Art space to participate in this virtual panel discussion. So a question then I'll ask first, Ms. Marie, and then Jacqueline, if you want to come in on that. Other folks who are maybe in Sydnie's generation, and which we're in the same generation, who are thinking about doing intergenerational work, do you have any advice for us? Anything that is important for us to know, or a good reason to do intergenerational work?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you'd say to a younger person who says, I'm curious about working with seniors? Is there anything that you would offer as advice?
I will encourage them to work with the seniors. I will, because they have a lot to give that we don't, the young generation don't know. We have a lot to learn from the seniors, and they have a lot to give, but we just have to be patient, because some of the young people, they are not patient. But these ladies over there, they are patient, because when they came to the senior center, to me, they are still young, these two. When they came to the center, even if the seniors don't want to do anything, but they engage with the seniors, and then they just get up and do something, because I don't know I don't know if they have something, but they engage with the seniors, and then they say, yeah, I will do it. Yeah, they're always ready, but it's because of this too. People are ready to, okay, I do it. What else you want me to do? That's how come I come here, be with them, because when they came, they engaged, they talk to us, they encourage the seniors to do things. So that's why, I will tell them to continue to do what they are doing, because they are doing a good job, and then I hope they continue to do it wherever they go. This is my opinion, because I like them. I like them all.
Thank you.
Yes, we appreciate you.
Yes.
I got to spend one day, Sydnie and the company invited me as a guest as well, and I got to do a small presentation about some of my work. And I was so grateful for folks' curiosity and attentiveness. It was a wonderful experience as an artist to have such a receptive audience. So I thank you for receiving me as an artist, and for receiving SLMDances, and for just getting up and doing new stuff. It's pretty exciting. I'm curious. So I said that I was going to turn the question over to you, Miss Jackie, after this, but I actually want to change the question a little bit to just ask one more question, and then I'll turn it over to Brittany. For a different question, but do you feel that Amsterdam houses and the culture and the community that you've created is being represented in Purple? Is there something about Amsterdam houses that is coming through that you hope audiences walk away with? And Miss Jackie, if you want to answer that.
So ask the question again.
Yeah, so you are a part of this community at Amsterdam Houses, and this is an interpretation, a quilting from this community, this work. What does Purple sound like? Do you feel like something, an essence, a truth, a truism about Amsterdam Houses is coming forward in the work? Is there something that you hope audiences will listen for or feel for when they come and experience it?
I think the thing that comes to my mind is the community, the sense of community, and the warmness of the community. It's a very, well, the seniors that I work with, and most of the ones who were participants, they've been living in the Amsterdam housing for many, many years. So they have a sense of community that I think is necessary now.
And maybe rare now, like maybe not as common.
And I think that, you know, just that ability of the generations to come together and just, you know, be pleasant, warm, giving, and receptive. So I think that the sense of community is kind of where my head is at this point. And that's what the project has been with, like, and continues to be.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Brittany,
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about, so you're a member of the company, and maybe you can share a little bit about what it's like to be a part of this company and how that is showing up in your experience of this work.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm taking pause because I have my performance hat, and then I also have my community engagement hat, and they definitely feed one another. Um, so just to clarify, are you asking me to explain like both parts or just what it means to be in the company, period?
Yeah, I mean, less than explaining exactly what your role is, more if you could share about what it feels like for you to be a part of the company and how it's showing up in this work. You're a performer in this work and you do some community engagement work. So there might be many pieces of you that we can experience in this work.
I feel reacclimated being in the company. There's definitely a lot of connections in my personal life that are relative to being a part of this work, that I'm like super grateful for, and also like, oh my gosh, the synchronicity is wild, honestly. I'm humbled. I feel like it also points to like healing work that I have in terms of um, recognizing my lineages, which I too am from, coming out of the Black church, um, as well as really being made by community. You know, knowing that my mother was friends with the neighbors on the block. You knew who was who. And you know, if something needed to get done, you wouldn't be afraid to ask because you knew it was there. And even if you didn't know it was there, someone would see you and say, oh, I know your mama, I know who you are, come, let me help you with this thing. And so a lot of that exists, I think, within the practice of SLMDances, in terms of like, you're going to get what you need even though you didn't know that you need it. And also, you know, just like, who are you bringing with you as well? Because we're never just bringing ourselves. And of course, depending on what it is you believe, that may be different things. But I know that for me, you know, um, I've definitely brought my grandmother with me. I brought my father with me, you know. My grandmothers, I'll say, because on the paternal side, and my great grandmother on my maternal side, that really have enabled me to do this work. And I didn't know that their stories were actually a part of what I'm doing until I got, you know, there'll be a prompt like, you know, well, who's the ancestor you're carrying? You know, where do you see purple in your life? And I start thinking, and memories come up, and it feeds me into the work that I'm doing and being able to show up. Yeah. I hope all that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it does to me, absolutely. Sydnie, I want to give you the opportunity. Are there any of the other collaborators who are not here that you particularly wanted to shout out or say anything towards their work?
I mean, I just want to just lift their names up again. Kim Hall, who made the beautiful, beautiful quilts that are behind us and in front of us and around us. Ebonie Smith, who produced the music in all of her brilliance. Shani Peters, who masterminded this space. those three humans are people who are so brilliant and so multi-talented, and who, when I came to them with this idea, I have long-term relationships with all of them, and that this work really is not only the manifestation of their individual brilliance in terms of, hey, here's this idea I'm thinking about, and like, what do you think? Can you help me shape this, bring this together? But it's also really the manifestation of our relationships with one another, and what we are able to create together in this moment because of what we have created together over so many years, in so many different iterations, and in so many different places and spaces. So I'm just really super, super grateful that the people that I get to collaborate with are my friends, and like we got to play together and we got to make something that really honored all of the people who we met at Lincoln Square Neighborhood Center, and we're able to just create something that we've never done before. I think this project has been new in some way for every single person who has collaborated, and I think that brings me a lot of joy, that we are learning together, and we are coming up with something that only this iteration of people at this moment in time could have created.
It makes me think of Emergent Strategy, Adrienne Marie Brown, who gives us the prompt, like, what can these people in this room right now do together? I'm butchering it, but it's something to that effect.
Yes.
Is that a work that also you draw from, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I didn't necessarily have that prompt in mind, but you are correct to draw that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that the entire process of working with you all has been that like fractal idea of just like, one relationship, one engagement that then informs the next, and you said go talk to this person and then go talk to that person, right? And that the small interactions have been what have created this this quilt, metaphorical quilt of what we're in at this moment.
Yeah, so I've jokingly said to you before, and I'm still going to keep bothering you about this, that at some point you're going to write the book on how to create a large scale collaborative work, and I can't wait to read it. But I do want to ask you now, like, you've named just, again, a couple more collaborators. We have some collaborators here on the screen. There are more that have not been named. You have the company that you founded and have been I don't know if mothering is an appropriate word, but you have been nurturing this company for many years. I'm curious, and if there's something else you want to get in here, please let me know. You stop me from
No,
talking.
I'm listening.
Okay.
We're taking care of ourselves in this moment.
Please do take care of yourselves. Thank you. I wonder, what are you learning? You said it already a little bit, but like, what are you learning about collaborating on this scale that are some things you want to, that other artists who might be watching might learn from you? Like, if I want to do a piece that isn't just me, I know I don't have the skills myself, but there are this person and that person and that person that I want to bring together. Like, are there some hot tips? Are there some lessons learned? Are there some, just seems like if you can lean into that question.
Learning a lot of things. I'll start with what I already knew that absolutely applies, which is relationships are everything, which is another Adrienne Marie Brown quote. Working with people who are values aligned and who have the same or similar North Star. Everyone that I've worked with on this project has the North Star of lifting up the stories of Black and Brown women. That is true for everyone. I would say the other thing that I'm learning is about communication and how and that is a process that you continue to learn through every relationship. But I think when you're communication in tandem with uh, like what I want to say, like figuring out what you need in the moment, right? So like this process of putting up this installation, I have never done any kind of visual art installation before. I have no idea until 2 weeks ago how things go on walls. No idea. I didn't know what wall text was or a curatorial statement or anything like that. And so it has been actually very emergent in terms of learning what support do we need here, how does that happen, who do we need to be connected to, and I think just continuing to listen, continuing to be responsive, continuing to ask for what you need, and also being willing to shift. And yeah, I think those are all life skills, but they're I'm learning them through the process of making and sharing art. And I think anyone who knows me knows that basically I use art as a way to learn how to do life. So so that's happening.
Yeah, and I want to lift up something that Miss Marie said about you earlier, which is patience. You're not in a rush to get the work done either, is what I've observed. We're talking 4 years and the work is still very much in progress. And so this progress piece is incredible to witness, and there's more to come. But you didn't rush yourself to get to this progress piece. In fact, you had other visions along the way that didn't maybe pan out, largely because of a global pandemic, but even still, because shifting was necessary and waiting was necessary. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Awesome. I had another question I wanted to ask that is slipping my mind. I want to just share again for the listening audience. So right now it's a multimedia installation experience. You might come on a day where you're mostly experiencing the visual and the sound and the other sort of tactile and smell. You might come on a day where there's a sharing of one of the dance pieces, which are being called spells. And you might come on a day then that Sydney's there, so you could experience the curator herself. And then what's next? What might the next iteration of Purple look like?
That's a very good question. So the next iteration is performance on stage. And we are looking at sharing something in spring 2022, another excerpt, another spell. And we are working towards presenting an evening length performance. And our idea about how what does purple sound like fits in with the performance is that for when we get to the big show, we keep saying this is not a show, this is not a show, but when we get to the big show, that this installation will be a lobby pre-show experience that audiences will experience whether there's a show or not, but that they can really engage with all of the materials. And then after experiencing that, they get to see a performance that does actually happen on stage, including many of the ideas and elements that are part of the installation. So that is our vision for the work. And our hope is that we'll be able to share that in 2023. God willing. And then that we'll not only be able to share that here in New York City, but that we will be able to share it beyond New York, take it on tour, and share with other communities that we're connected to.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I can't wait. So does that mean that you're in rehearsal now with dance pieces?
Oh yeah, we've been virtually rehearsing the whole pandemic. The work has really been in development. It has not stopped being in development. Just what we've chosen to focus on has been different. But we are hoping to be in a regular in-person studio rehearsal process in spring 2022. Again, God willing. And then we'll go from there.
Incredible. And just for folks who are not as familiar with SLMDances, how many company members do you have now?
Ooh, Britt, how many? Is it 10, 11?
They can all fit in the chairs. So I'm going to say there's 12.
Okay, we're going to say there's 12 because we actually don't know off the top of our head.
Okay, everyone has a seat.
Yeah, everybody has a seat. And specifically for the Purple Universe, we do have several guest artists. Sharon is one of those guest artists. Diane Harvey, who is performing, who is one of the people doing pop-up performances during this installation, is also a guest artist in the project. And we have several others.
Wonderful. Really wonderful. I'm curious, Brittany, is there anything else about your experience dancing in the work, maybe in particular, that you might want to share with us? I'll share. I experienced you, and wait, it was you, yes, on Saturday, right? Yes. Okay. I'm having oh no, masks. But it's a masked performance, which is for COVID safety reasons. Still very evocative and very present with it. But I experienced you and a dance partner whose name I'm forgetting, but maybe you can tell us in a moment, doing one of the
Romita.
Allegra, what was the last name?
Romita.
Thank you. Dancing a duet throughout the space while audiences sat in various locations. The piece is hard to describe, but it was really wonderful. And how many of the spells are you a part of, and what's that been like developing those works? So how often are you performing together? Was that one of your first times doing that in person together, or had you been rehearsing?
No, so Allegra and I, we've done this duet of care. That's what the section, or that's what the spell is. It's a duet of care. We did that prior to the pandemic, and what was wonderful is that we recognized each other's energy, and so we were able to come together and move as if we've been dancing in person all this time. So I've been able to see Allegra virtually. And so for the first time in a long time, I saw her on Saturday. And
Wow.
it was powerful, because also I think to the process of creating the spells, it really is about what are you seeing in the other person, how are you supporting them, and we couldn't make that section, I don't think, without the process of coming together and saying, like, this is what I appreciate about you, and do I have your permission to touch you and to move with you and to breathe with you and to notice just all of who you are.
That's incredible. Watching you move, I would have thought you'd been in space together for months. There's
Oh no, I wish.
That's incredible. I think that's something else I want to lift up about SLM Dance for those who are not as familiar, that you have created a sense of community and connection in a time of incredible isolation, grief, and loss, both with the company, with the residents of Amsterdam houses, and to guests that you've invited into the space virtually. You've been connecting with at least a dozen folks on this weekly basis, and these other folks that have relationship. And I don't take that lightly, and I don't think we should either. So in your book, I believe there will be, at least a chapter on like holding each other metaphysically through a pandemic. and I think that this piece really reflects that energy. That's why I said when I walked in, I felt held, I felt hugged. And I think even though you all have not been physically sharing space, you have been creating such an energetic tie to each other that when you are in space, it's palpable. And I'm grateful for that. And I think you're really onto something there. So thank you.
Well, can I also add something as well?
Please.
Because I think also the connection again is coming out of communicating with our elders, our 50 and better, our glowing gatekeepers. Because like even during this time, we were able to make zines that was talking about purple, so that they knew like, okay, like we're recognizing the things that you've told us, and this is what we want to share with you. Because I think also during the pandemic, like people forgot, how to communicate. And I definitely, the older folks I'm around all day long are like, well, what are you gonna do without a cell phone? People were writing letters. So this was also a moment for us, I think, to tap into like, okay, there's a pandemic, and also still check in with the people who you've connected with and you need to still connect with at this time. So it was really wonderful. Like I definitely, me and Miss Maria, bless her, because I call her, I call Miss Jackie a lot, and they always take the time to speak to me. And honestly, I want to know the secrets because I'm like, I don't have to struggle. Can you advise me? And so it's really wonderful because they are a part of this work, and also like they are also informing like life itself. Like what are the things that I need to know, and what can we carry with us that we're not already aware of. Just because
Absolutely.
generationally it's
Absolutely.
it's different. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, even just knowing, Miss Marie, you have a comment, please add.
Yes, I have something else. Yeah, but you see, some of the young people, I'm not talking about these two ladies, but some of the young people, they are impatient. You see, since they are impatient, they don't take their time to see the seniors' need. It's there, but since they are impatient, they don't see it. But these two, it's like they are constantly, constantly, talking, asking questions, even if you don't feel like talking. But because because they are asking questions, they force you to give them an answer. So that's why these two they are different. But I'm talking in general. Some of them, for the new generation, they have to be more patient. They have to pay attention, and then they have to be more patient when they are addressing an elderly or a senior. This is very important. So I give them a thumbs up. These two that I know, that call me often and talk to me to see how I'm doing. So I appreciate it dearly.
Yes.
For real, I appreciate it dearly because they always call me, talking to me. Do you want to take the injection, the vaccine? I'm going to check for you. They just in with whatever you are doing, whatever you like to do. They are into it. They try to help you one way or another. So I appreciate it. So I like them to continue to be like that. Don't change. Don't change. For the people that come in after me, don't change. Continue to do it. I appreciate it dearly, sincerely. I appreciate it.
Thank you for that. And thank you for that reminder for all of us to be patient, to ask questions again and again, to be really curious and keep asking, even if we don't get an answer the first time. I think, as Sydnie said, I'm not sure if you're out of the room, that this is advice for life, not just for making art. So thank you very much. I think we are going to probably move to close. And I want to know, are there any final thoughts or words from any of the other panelists?
I would just like to echo what Marie said, especially throughout the pandemic, with regularity, Brittany was calling to check, to check in, and it made a difference, because during the pandemic, everybody was doing their own thing and separations and, and she kept calling to find out what's happening. And as Marie said, that was, it was very touching, because we continued, as I said before, with the community. Even throughout the pandemic, the community was still thriving, it was still alive.
That's right. And let this be a reminder to everyone to get off this live event and call your mama and your grandmama and your aunties. I'm really grateful that I got to share some time with you tonight. Did you have any last words, Sharon? Anything else you wanted to add? Not to put you on the spot.
Purple is fire. Go check it out. If I lived in New York, listen, if I had like stacks, like Megan Thee Stallion level stacks, I would get on a private jet and go see it immediately. However, I do not have stacks and I cannot.
Fair enough. I didn't realize you were one of the distance collaborators. Can you tell us again where you are?
Oh yeah, I'm in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have
no stacks yet?
Got it. No stacks yet, but lots of warm wishes for everyone who can come visit. Thank you. Sydnie, what should people do if they want to follow more about the company and this work?
Yeah, you should follow us on social media at SLMDances. You can also go to our website, SLMDances.com. You can sign up for our newsletter there. You can see all of the activities that we have coming up. And we just look forward to connecting with people more and more.
Wonderful. And I'm going to go ahead and again call the names of the folks that are not here, but are very much a part of it. Shani Peters, who did the installation design, Pam Phillips from Changing the Narrative, who connected folks to the oral history work, Jules Slutsky, who photographed the folks from The Great Day, Ebonie Smith, who was the producer and collaborated with Counterfeit Madison, and Dr. Kim Hall, the quilter. And then we've been speaking now with Brittany Greer, who is a dancer performer with SLMDances and community engagement liaison. Will you wave again, Brittany, for the people? Thank you, Brittany. And next to her, Marie Steven, an Amsterdam House's resident and a mother and other things as well. Jacqueline Wright, Lincoln Square Neighborhood Center community member, and along with Marie Stevens, a co-conspirator on this work. We have virtually joining us from Ohio, Counterfeit Madison, Sharon Udoh, who did some music, did some of the music with Ebonie. And then last but not least, our current Skylab artist in residence, Sydnie Mosley, who is really someone to look out for so many reasons, so many things, both this experience, the work of this company, but also just leading us in a way forward to make art, to make community, to hold each other through some of the hardest times of our lives individually, but also as a nation, as a world. And I look to you, Sydnie, as someone who is a North Star that I can follow. So thank you so much for all your work. All right. And thank you again to our interpretation services from First Choice Interpretation. And thank you, High Arts. You can check us out at the usual High Arts NYC.org. Tell me the website again? Yes. The banner below. I should know this. I've been Kirya Traber, Curator in Residence, and I hope that you'll come check out What Does Purple Sound Like?